Aaron, welcome to the Leanpub launch video for Everyday Rails Testing with RSpec. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about what you're doing with the book and the big update and what it's about and who it's for.
Yeah. I did the original book. I think it first showed up on Leanpub maybe close to 11 years ago at this point. And, so back then it just kind of happened by a happy accident. Wrote a few blog posts that gained some traction. I just heard of Leanpub at the time, and what the heck? I'll see if I can make a couple of bucks off of this. And, it did, above and beyond my expectations. Kept it going in that general format for really until the last, I think in 2019 was the last time I really did a lot of work with it. And, just for a variety of reasons, personally and professionally, I kind of got away from it for a bit and quit paying attention to it. Kind of just assumed it would quit being something that people would be interested in organically, but I kept getting requests about, hey, when are you going to update it for the newest technology? Hey, I noticed there's this thing that no longer works. And I got myself back into a headspace where, I thought, I don't really have much more to say about this topic about, writing tests for software. And it turned out that I did. And so fast forward to beginning of this year, I started to think about, okay, what would that look like in terms of, do I make it a new book? Do I make it an update to the existing book? Do I start fresh? Do I kind of bring in new concepts that weren't around yet in 2019 to into the existing content? How does that look? And I basically decided I don't need to have those answers. It's Leanpub. I can sort of figure that stuff out as I go. And so that's where we are today. I just released an update last night. The nature of the book is that you basically start with an untested piece of software, and the notion is we've clicked around through it, we've pressed the buttons, we've filled in text here and there. We have a sense that it works from that sort of manual perspective, but every time I make a change, I don't have to click through every form on my website and things like that. I want to just have the robots do that for me really quickly, just test through everything in a few seconds and feel confident that I'm producing what I'm supposed to be producing. So it builds up chapter to chapter. As a result, you start off untested, then, okay, here's a concept. We'll apply that to this part of the code. Here's chapter 2 is the next concept, chapter 3, and on and on. So it's, the part of me is like, I'm going to figure this stuff out as I go, has made it so I can't just like knock everything out or do things out of order. It has to be done very deliberately in order. So it's really been an interesting exercise for me. There are things that, because I thought I've said what I need to say about this topic. Turns out, a lot has changed in 10 or 11 years, and whether it's different technology or I think about these things differently than I did. So it's given me a chance to really reflect on how I think as a software developer. And because I want to make this like not just okay, it was Rails 5, now it's Rails 7. And it's not by kind of putting that 2024 and beyond spin on it to give people their money's worth.
Yeah, well, and speaking about giving people their money's worth, I mean, one of the really interesting things about, running the Leanpub platform is we get to see authors do all kinds of really interesting things with the features that are available. And of course, Leanpub books can be updated. What you're doing is you're kind of like people who bought the book, say, 11 years ago, are watching the transformation of that same book into a second edition. Mm-hmm. But again, it's the interesting thing is the transformation of the same book into a second edition, not the publication of a second edition and then pointing you from the first one to the second one. You're actually transforming the original book.
Right. And that was a conscious decision on my part. It was a combination of, what's a simple path forward. I'm going to work with what I've got and adapt it. And I just thought about it's what's fair, I think, to people who in some cases, thanks to the flexible pricing that Leanpub does, people pay quite a bit of money for this book, and put a lot of trust in somebody who, otherwise this is the one book I've written. So it's not like I have a huge pedigree beyond a blog in this book, in the Ruby on Rails world. So I've had a chance to meet a lot of great people over the years, as part of doing this, and have had a lot of people who, every time I do something online, they're like really quick to say, "Oh, this is great. I liked it, but this." And I just felt like it was the right thing to do, to make this something that, if you bought it yesterday, if you bought it 11 years ago, you paid $9 for it, we paid $59 for it. Here you go. It's the same amount of work for me either way.
Yeah, well, it's a really great idea, a really creative use of our platform as well. The book is Everyday Rails Testing with RSpec. Thank you very much, Aaron, for taking some time out of your day to do this launch video.
Thanks, Len. I appreciate it.